Hello dear students, welcome to history class. I hope all of you are doing well. Students, in this video I shall be continuing with lesson 3 of history, that is the Delhi Sultanate. So students, in the previous video I had explained till very short answer questions, and in this video I shall be proceeding with question number 3rd, that is short answer questions. So let's start with the first question of short answer questions. I request everybody to look at the screen. We have question number 1 of short answer questions. So the question is, describe the division of a province in the Sultanate period. So students, I have already explained you regarding the division of a province. Province means state. So the question is asking that how the state was divided, that means how the province was divided in the Delhi Sultanate. See, the Delhi Sultanate was divided into subas or provinces. Provinces or subas are the same, and provinces or subas means states. So first of all came states or subas. So the Delhi Sultanate was divided into subas, and the subas, they were divided into shiks. The subas were divided into shiks, and the shiks were divided into parganas. Please remember that shiks were divided into parganas, and further the parganas was divided into villages. So this is the division of empire or division, sorry, this cut this line. So this is the division of province in the Sultanate period. First are the subas, after suba shiks, after shiks parganas, and after parganas villages. So this is the division of province in the Sultanate period. So I hope question number 1 is clear to everybody. Now let's move to question number 2. So question number 2 is, what is Hauz Khas? Who built it? So what is Hauz Khas? It is a large water reservoir built in the city Siri. And Siri, who built the city of Siri? Siri was built by Alauddin Khilji. So the second part of the question, that who built it? So Alauddin Khilji built Hauz Khas, and Hauz Khas was a part of city Siri. And let me tell you that Siri it became the capital of Khiljis, and Siri also became the 3rd city of Delhi. So I hope that Hauz Khas is clear to everybody. It is basically a large water reservoir built in the city of Siri by Alauddin Khilji. So I hope question number 2 is clear. Now let's move to question number 3rd. Now let's come to question number 3rd. As you can see on the screen, we have question number 3rd. So the question is, why did Muhammad bin Tughlaq decide to introduce bronze and copper coins? See, I have explained you that Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he introduced token currency. He introduced silver, he introduced bronze and copper coins. See, during that time there was a shortage of silver in India. So in order to overcome the shortage of silver in India, Muhammad bin Tughlaq decided to introduce bronze and copper coins. But what was the effect of introduction of bronze and copper coins? The value of new coins, that means the value of copper and bronze coins, they fell sharply, and finally the Sultan had to withdraw the currency. So this means that this was not the successful move that done by the Sultan, that is Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So basically, to overcome the shortage of silver, he introduced bronze and copper coins. Since silver was not there, there was an extreme shortage of silver. So what to do? Coins had to be there. So he introduced bronze and copper coins. So I hope this question is clear. Now let's move to the last question of short answer questions, that is question number 4th. Why did the nobles oppose Razia? First of all, who was Razia and she belonged to which dynasty? Razia was the daughter of Iltutmish from slave dynasty. So she was the daughter of Iltutmish. See, I have already explained you that Iltutmish had many sons, but none of them were capable but none of them were capable to hold the throne. So he nominated his daughter Razia for the throne, but accepting Razia as their sultan, but cut that line. But the nobles did not approve or did not support the accession of Razia. But the nobles did not support Razia as their sultan, as they did not like to be led by a woman. And Razia was a very bold lady. She refused to wear female dress and to cover her face. That time the women, they had to cover their face, but Razia was a very bold lady. She started holding courts without with her face unveiled. That means she did not used to cover her face with a veil, and she also hunted and led the army in war. So because of all these reasons, she had to face a lot of opposition from the Turkish noble who did not approve her independent ways. She was a very independent woman. She was a very independent lady, but the nobles, they did not like her independent ways. So the nobles did not approve Razia. They opposed Razia as their sultan. Students, I also told you about Minhaj-e-Siraj. He totally disliked Razia. He totally disliked to be under the control of a woman. So Razia was finally murdered. She was murdered in 1240 AD. So this was basically the reason that the nobles opposed the nobles opposed Razia, because of her independent ways, and they did not like to be under the control of a lady. This was the main reason. So I hope all the short answer questions are clear to everybody. Now students, let's move to long answer questions. So let's move to question number 1 of long answer questions. So question number 1 is, as you can see on the screen, why is Alauddin Khilji market control regarded as great wonder? See, first of all, Khilji belonged to Khilji dynasty. We cut that line. First of all, Alauddin Khilji belonged to Khilji dynasty, and Alauddin's market policies, they are regarded as great wonders because of certain reasons, and he adopted excellent policies in order to control the market. That is why his measures, his policies are regarded as great wonders. And some of his policies are, first of all, he fixed the cost of all the commodities, means from every commodity the price was fixed. For example, from food grains to sugar to cooking oil to needle, means the price of every commodity in the market was fixed. That is from costly imported clothes to horse and cattle, that means to animals, from food items to the things of daily necessities to animals. Everything was fixed by Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin set up 3 markets in Delhi. First for food grains, second for costly clothes, and third for horses, slaves and cattle. And you know, each market was under the control of an officer called Shahana, who strictly controlled the prices. And you know, very harsh punishments were given to any shopkeeper who charged a higher price or tried to cheat or loot the customers by using false weights and measures. So these measures, these policies benefited the people. So his policies to control the markets were regarded as great wonders of the world. So I hope question number 1 is clear to everybody. Now students, we will move to question number 2. So students, please look at the screen. So question number 2 is, briefly describe the welfare measures taken by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. First of all, who was Firoz Shah Tughlaq? He was the cousin of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He ascended the throne after Muhammad bin Tughlaq. And you know, when he ascended the throne, things were not going well. He had to face several problems. Why he had to face several problems? Because the Delhi Sultanate, it was breaking up. So in order to in order to please the people, in order to please the army and the nobles, he took several steps. He adopted several policies and welfare measures so that everything could be under control. So first of all, he made the Ikta and land rights hereditary for both civil and army officials. I have already explained you about Ikta. Ikta means the land grants given to the nobles in lieu of the salary. So he made the land rights hereditary. Next, in order to please the Muslim religious scholars, and who were the Muslim religious scholars called? What were the Muslim religious scholars called? They were called as ulema. So he imposed jizya. First of all, he did these two things in order to get the support of nobles and the Muslim religious scholars. Then he took several welfare measures. He adopted several welfare measures. Like, first of all, he set up hospitals for free treatment for the poor. He set up hospitals. Several hospitals were set up for free treatment so that the poor could go there in the hospital and treat them. So that the poor could go to the hospital and they could get proper treatment. So free hospital were set up. Then he promoted agriculture by digging of wells and by constructing canals for irrigation purposes, and also for providing water to some of the new towns which were built by him. So first of all, first welfare measure for the general public was set up of hospitals, and second was he promoted agriculture. How he promoted agriculture? By digging wells and by constructing canals for irrigation purposes, and also he provided water to some new towns that were built by him. And the new towns that were built by him were, first was Hisar, that is in Haryana, and second Firozabad, which is in Uttar Pradesh. So I hope that this question is clear to everybody. Now we will move to question number 3rd. Now students, let's come to question number 3rd. So question number 3rd is, how did the failure of Muhammad bin Tughlaq's plans weaken the empire to a great extent? I have already explained you while I was explaining the chapter that Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he took several bold experiments. He did several bold experiments, and he took several. I have already told you while I was explaining the chapter that Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he did several bold experiments which weakened the empire to a great extent. So I am going to explain you the experiments, the policies that led to the failure as well as weakening of the empire. First of all, the first experiment or the first policy of Muhammad bin Tughlaq was shifting of capital. This was the first thing. See, he decided to transfer his capital from Delhi to Devgiri in the Deccan and name it as Daulatabad. So he wanted to shift his capital from Delhi to Daulatabad, and he wanted to make Devgiri as his second capital. Why he wanted this shift? So that he could control the South India in a better way. But I'm talking about, the question says that what plans led to the weakening. So how did this shifting of capital led to the weakening of the empire? See, though he had built a road from Delhi to Daulatabad, and he also set up several rest houses for the officials, for the army and for the soldiers, but Daulatabad was 1500 kilometers away from Delhi, and many people, they died due to such long journey and heat. That time summer season was going on when they started their shifting, when they decided to shift their capital, and while they were shifting, the weather was extremely very hot and people could not take that weather, and as a result of which many people died while shifting, as it was done in the summer season. Also, the people who reached home, they were homesick, and after a few years he again decided to abandon Daulatabad and move to Delhi. Why? Because he was not able to manage the affairs of Delhi in a proper way. So all this shifting and then again going back to Delhi, this wasted a lot of money. It caused a financial crisis as well as it hampered the prestige and image of the Sultan. So this was the first reason, that is shifting of capital. The second reason is introduction of token currency. You know, that time there was a shortage of silver in India. So in order to overcome that shortage, he decided to introduce bronze and copper coins, which was to have the same value as the silver coins. So what was the effect of this introduction of bronze and copper? Forgery of bronze and copper coins began, and soon the new coins, they began to be greatly devalued in the market. And finally, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he decided to withdraw the token currency, and he promised to exchange silver pieces for bronze and copper coins. And all this resulted in the loss of money as well as in the prestige of the Sultan. So this was the second reason. And the third reason, increase in land revenue in the Doab region. See, since Sultan was facing, or the whole empire was in great financial loss, so from where they will get the money, from where they will recover? So the Sultan, he increased the land revenue, and as a result of which a serious peasant revolt in the Gangetic Doab region started. The peasants, the farmers, they started revolting because the Sultan had increased the land revenue in the Doab region. Why he increased? In order to pay the army, because that time there was a crisis, that was a financial crisis time. So that is why he increased the tax. So what was the result? What was the effect of that? The peasants, they started revolting, they fled up the villages, they set the crops on fire, and everything was wasted. The crops were wasted, and it resulted in famine, and as a result of which the Sultan had to supply 6 months of food grains to the people from the royal granary. Also, the peasants had to be given loans to restore cultivation, and all these bold experiments, they led to the failure and weakening of the empire. And why all this happened? You know, all this happened because of the hasty and impatient nature and behavior of the Sultan. He was very impatient. He wanted to get quick results. He wanted to do everything very quickly. He wanted immediate results. So because of all that, because of his hasty nature and impatient nature, the empire was weakening. So all these plans this way resulted in the weakening of the empire. So I hope that this question is clear to everybody. Now I'll move to the last question of this exercise. So the fourth question is, who succeeded Qutbuddin Aibak? Why is that person called the real founder of slave dynasty? Why is that person called the real founder of the Sultanate? Okay, I have already explained you that Qutbuddin Aibak was succeeded by his son-in-law. And what was the name of his son-in-law? The name of his son-in-law was Iltutmish. So Qutbuddin was succeeded by his son-in-law Iltutmish. He is also regarded as the real founder. See, founder of slave dynasty is, or founder of Delhi Sultanate is Qutbuddin Aibak. But real founder of Delhi Sultanate is Iltutmish. Why he is called as the real founder? He is regarded as a real founder because of several reasons. First of all, he shifted his capital from Lahore to Delhi. Earlier, during Qutbuddin Aibak's period, the capital was in Lahore. So first of all, he shifted the capital from Lahore to Delhi. Secondly, he managed to crush his rivals, that means the Turks and the rebellious Rajputs. He very easily, very properly, he was able to manage and crush his rivals. Also, he also showed his wisdom when he refused to give shelter to Jalaluddin, the Khwarizmi ruler, who was escaping from Genghis Khan, and Genghis Khan was the Mongol invader. So because of these reasons, he is regarded as the real founder of the Sultanate. And also Iltutmish, he also found Chehalgani, or Chehalgani, which is also called as group of 40 nobles who used to advise and suggest the Sultan in several matters related to the empire. So that is why he is called it as that is why he is called as the real founder of the Sultanate. So I hope all the questions are clear to everybody, all the topics are clear to everybody, and I also expect that these videos will prove helpful to you. So thank you so much. With this note, let me sign off for today. So I'll meet you again in the next video with a new chapter. Till then, stay safe, study hard. Thank you so much.